the British forces to take part in military action in Iraq.
If we listened to the muttering idiot sitting opposite me.
And stable leadership.
I'm sure she'll tell us one day what it actually means.
One chlorinated chicken that I can see in this house, and he's on
that I am resigning as leader of the Conservative Party.
Hello, welcome to Political Chinwag. You're here with me, Scott, Jordan and Zoe. Jordan, introduce yourself. Where are you from?
I'm Jordan. I'm from County Durham, the northeast of England, where it's been up to -6 recently. Zoe?
I'm Zoe. I'm from Bristol. It's been really cold as well. It was actually -3 at lunchtime. So it's been pretty cold down here as well.
I'm Scott. I'm from Dorset, and it's been bloody Baltic, at least 5 degrees.
But you do not have the extra hair to keep you warm, unlike us two.
This is true.
Yeah.
But so this week's sort of categories that were going on, I think we're just sticking with the one, aren't we? We're going to talk about the whole malarkey on legal immigration. I think that was the aim, wasn't it?
Yes, we were going to talk about Rishi's 5-point plan of how he's going to tackle immigration.
If I remember correctly, you were meant to send us over some little bullet points on the plan, weren't you?
Yes, and I did. They're in the WhatsApp chat.
Oh, right, okay.
I'd seen them earlier, so in Scott's defence, he did.
So I managed to get that from my MP, who all MPs were given a statement before it went. Did you mention it at PMQs or the day before?
Day before.
Day before was Tuesday.
Yeah.
So yeah, the 5-point plan, obviously broken down to 5 points in the title, is a new agreement with Albania, a new permanent unified small boats operational command, tougher immigration enforcement, cheaper accommodation sites, clear the initial asylum backlog by 2023. So I guess we want to start with the agreement with Albania. Pronunciation's going well again.
Albania's obviously been the big one in the news. Between January and June this year, there's been 2,165 Albanians that arrived in the country, massively up from last year. Do you two know who the two highest places immigrants came from last year in 2021? Where the two highest countries?
No, I don't either.
Iran was number one with 8,319. And Iraq was second with 6,117 illegal immigrants. This year, the top three are Albania, Afghanistan, and Iran. So Albania is sort of.
I can understand Iran.
I can understand Afghanistan.
Yeah.
Albania is obviously France, Germany, etc. They all send Albanians back because it is still classed as a safe country. So it's something that we're really struggling with. £5.6 million per day is spent to house illegal immigrants. Just, that doesn't sound bad enough. It's £233,333 and 33 pence per hour we're spending. Yes, I've done the maths. Wow. It sounds apparently really bad.
We only reject 45% of the Albanian asylum seekers. Wow. France, Belgium, Germany, and Sweden reject almost 100%.
Yeah, it's there's obviously an issue with the system in general. We're not processing applications quick enough, which is obviously causing the backlogs. And to be honest with you, it's getting worse. That £5.6 million per day is the current cost. What's it going to be in another 6 months? It is skyrocketing high, and it's just going to get more and more costly to the UK taxpayer, our government. And I've also decided, doing a bit of maths, by spending this much money to tackle the homeless crisis, we could eradicate homeless in 4 years by spending £5.6 million per day.
Really?
So I looked at the average house prices of up north, not down where you are, where it's overly expensive, up north. An average terrace house, 3-bed terrace house up near where I live, is 100 grand. 100 grand.
What?
Yes.
3-bed?
You can get a 3-bed terrace house between £60,000 to £100,000.
You get a shed down here for that?
Yeah, probably.
Just the shed roof.
Yeah. Probably a barn where you're from, Zoe, but you know.
All the carrots you can eat.
I can't even get a shed to put my tractor in for that price.
But I worked out if we went with £100,000 per house at £5.6 million per day, you can build 56. Well, you can buy 56 houses a day. So in a year, that's 61,152 people rehoused because 3 people, 1 per room in those beds. I looked for how many people were homeless, and the only statistics I could get was from December 2021 and from Shelter, the organisation Shelter. I'm sure you are all be aware of them. They said in England alone, there was 274,000 homeless people in England alone. So I done the maths, and just over 4.4, like 4 years, I think it worked out as like May in 4 years' time. By spending that much money on buying property at around £100,000, we could rehome everyone, providing it was 3 bed on average. And to me, why are we spending £5.6 million per day on illegal immigrants when we have got, obviously, we'll be in excess of 274,000 now, homeless UK citizens? And we all work in an industry where I'm sure we've come across an array of people, whether immigrants, whether the UK citizens that are homeless. I'm working with several people now that are homeless. And to get them houses is extremely hard, extremely hard.
Difficult.
And yes, we have got a housing crisis. Don't get me wrong, but we're hemorrhaging money that we can't afford to hemorrhage. What is it? 5.6 million per day, and that's got to be 2.7 billion, if not more, a year.
Almost as bad as NHS.
Yeah. Oh God, let's not go down that line. At least the paramedics have cancelled their strike. At least they.
Yeah,
have.
that's good.
Yeah.
I was just looking at the statement that went out to MPs today under the agreement with Albania. This bit made me chuckle. It says new guidance for caseworkers, making it clear Albania is a safe country. They've got to be that specific.
How many people in the UK could tell us whereabouts Albania was?
Yeah, true.
I'm pretty sure it's a member of NATO as well.
But a lot of people on Twitter as well were saying about the cost, about how obviously we've got the cost of living crisis at the moment. Like you were saying about homelessness. Others were saying the same thing as you, Jordan, that money could be spent going towards helping people in the United Kingdom and improving the cost of living, whether it be payments of some sort or whatever it could go towards.
But no, are we realistically going to counter and win the fight against illegal immigrants? I don't think it's the migrants we're against, though, personally. It's the traffickers and stuff like that as well.
Yeah, it's exploitation. And the thing, I had a Ukrainian guest, because I'm not allowed to call them refugees, said to me the other day, they found it really hard to get to the UK because they're poor. And as a rule, only the rich people manage to get out of the country because they're the ones that can afford to get out. So how are poor people going to be able to afford to pay thousands upon thousands of pounds to get from whatever country they're in to France to then pay more money to go across the channel? That way before, I think people just assume everyone just smuggles themselves into a lorry or a truck and then they just hide there and it's just free and they come across. But
no, it is interesting. Obviously, going back to the Ukraine side of things, I thought there might be a bit more support there to help them get here, to be honest with you, from our behalf, because obviously we were asked to welcome them with open arms, and rightfully so. Rightfully so. I completely agree with people from Ukraine coming to this country, people from Afghanistan coming from to this country, because they're in a severe situation where they are being oppressed and within war. So yes, of course, 100% they should be coming to this country without a doubt. But
they're not illegal, are they?
They're not.
And that's the difference. That's what we're talking about, isn't it? Illegal immigration.
But it is illegal till the applications get accepted on, I believe, the Afghanistan residents. I don't know whether the Ukraine's the same, but our backlog, what was it? It's something like 1 application a week gets processed.
Yeah.
1 application per week gets processed.
That's ridiculous.
Yes, and how many people are part of those teams to process these applications? I bet we're spending 5.6 million minimum per week just to try and process 1 application. It is ridiculous how much money we're spending. And the 5.6 million per day on housing, that's just the tip of the iceberg of how much money gets spent. because you've got the preventative measures, you've got the processing measures, you've got a whole load of other financial costs involved in managing or micromanaging illegal immigration and legal immigration. And the issue is the UK, we've got it completely wrong. Whether we can blame the Conservatives or not, we've always had an issue with immigration. Yes, it's spiked, but we have always had an issue with immigration. I don't think it's right just to sit and point fingers at likes of France, because if we were France, I think we would quite happily watch people move on, no longer their issue. Scott, you looked worried there. Someone broke into your house.
Yeah, they're more or less, yeah.
For the purpose of the podcast, Scott's getting whipped.
We're very concerned.
I was being asked for an Apple Watch charger.
In a cost of living crisis? How dare you own one of them, Scott?
You're just insulting everybody now.
Just reading some of the statement here, it's quite interesting what they're looking to put in place. It says here, significantly raising the threshold for someone to be referred to the modern slavery system. I guess that's making it harder to be assessed as being a modern slave.
Well,
it says here also assurances from Albania allowing us to return people with confidence their modern slavery needs will be protected. So yeah, we're going to raise the threshold, send them back, and then Albania are going to make sure they're safe.
But what's preventing them from then leaving the country and trying again? And how is Albania managing this? And what is the reasons for these people leaving Albania in the first place? It's all fair and well saying that it is a safe place to live, but we don't get a bigger picture. They could be running away from something more domestically focused. Like that's in the international media.
There was an interview on Sky News with some Albanians,
right,
on why they came to the UK, and they're more or less saying it was economic migration,
right,
because they want. Yeah, I mean this is one case. I can't say this for everyone, but they were saying that we can't afford to live in Albania anymore. We can't have any quality of life, so we wanted to come to the UK to earn money and have a good quality of life.
Have they seen the prices of stuff at the moment?
Yeah, I know, right? Well, apparently we're going to get a dedicated unit with 400 new specialist staff to expedite cases within weeks. That'd be good. And border force officers embedded in Tirana airport to stop people coming here illegally in the first place, and Albanian officers based in Kent. So some good interagency working. That's if they choose to fly here. But if they come another route. But as a result, there will be weekly flights until all Albanians in our backlog have been removed, while new Albanian illegal immigrants will be swiftly returned.
Just out of curiosity then, going back to the financial side, how much is it going to cost to do all this?
That's what I was thinking in regards to flights and stuff, because that's expensive in itself.
Of course it is. And it's not anyone but the UK taxpayer that's paying these costs. The UK tax. We should be looking at some sort of financial agreement where Albania is covering partially, if not more, of the costs to return these. But at the end of the day, the UK taxpayer is paying the way for all this at the moment. £5.6 million per day. That figure there should shock everyone. £5.6 million per day. That's stupid money to be spent on housing illegal immigrants. And I wonder in a couple of years' time, who is going to come out as these people that have been getting paid this money to house them? I just wonder. But no, the immigration in general, it's not looking good. I can't see how we can control it. I honestly can't. The small boat, was it the small boats? What's he called?
Small boat operational command.
That just sounds like a piss take.
Yeah, so basically what it's saying here is that it's been too fragmented. The policing of the channel has been fragmented in the past. They're establishing a new small boats operational command with 700 new permanent staff to bring together military and civilian capabilities supported by the National Crime Agency, and they're going to expand the use of technology such as drones. Again, it's a big bit of water to cover.
We can have this command and we can surveillance and have the drones in the air, but that's not preventing them. As soon as they're in the water, we can't send them back. We can't send them back. We have to. We have we have a sort of right to make sure they're safe. We can't just leave them in the water. We have to welcome them essentially ashore. So
did you the touching on that? Did you see the Australian? I think it's Australian Prime Minister was saying they have a similar issue with one of the islands off of Australia where people come across. That they actually put them back into life rafts and push them back towards where they came from.
But Australia aren't sort of lassoed by the Human Rights Act that we are. Effectively.
No, I'm not saying it's right. I just said it's, even for me, that was like, whoa, that's a bit shocking.
Like, sadly, it is so sad when we've seen that sort of come up in the news, the deaths of young families and mixed age. It's been so sad when we see people drowning. It just makes you wonder why. Is it really worth that risk? Because
and that's the exploitation side, isn't it?
It is, and they are victims, these people. And the issue is, the UK, whether it's right or wrong, residents in the UK are becoming frustrated at the amount that are coming over, and it is playing with fire really, because we do not want UK citizens trying to take the law into their own hands, and that's the concerning part.
Yeah.
That is the massively concerning part. And I don't know whether you agree, but I feel like consecutive governments, because this isn't a recent issue, this has been an ongoing issue, have failed to nip this in the bud, and it's just got worse and worse. We're hemorrhaging now, and we cannot survive financially. We cannot survive.
I'm not convinced that the backlog will be cleared by 2023.
I don't think it'll be cleared by 2030, to be honest. Because that backlog is just going to get bigger and bigger.
It's going to take a long time.
They want to double the amount of caseworkers to 2,500. It says here to radically simplify the casework process with shorter guidance, fewer interviews, less paperwork, and specialist caseworkers by nationality. Half of that sounds like we're not going to do a proper job to me. And it mentions again about the modern slaveries. They want to reduce the cooling off period for modern slavery referrals from 45 days to 30 days, in line with the legal international minimum. It's going to be interesting. And they're also saying how if you enter the UK illegally, you should not be able to remain here, and that we're going to get rid of you as quick as we can.
That's always been the fact, though. There's nothing really new in this plan. He set out an agenda that I think is unachievable.
I think it's populism again. It's
I was just about to say
crowd.
Yes, of course it is. He's trying to swing, obviously. The Conservatives on this sort of downward spiral. He's trying to swing it. And yes, we are improving on the polls. But at the end of the day, he needs to try and win more votes.
I agree. But I think if he goes down this path of populism, and the evidence will be that this probably won't work in the long run. And then everyone will be angry again.
It's unsustainable.
False
promises is a phrase that's been thrown around all too often in politics recently. So
it's what a lot of people online were saying, though, that they want actions, not words. It's all good saying you're going to do it, but they want to see it happen.
Talking of what people have been saying, you had some comments from
yes, I do.
The internet, didn't you? I'd be interested.
I will get them up.
Me and Jordan haven't heard these, so I'm hoping there's something interesting.
So, hang on, I'm trying to find them.
We should call this messages to Pat.
Right, we're going to have to describe this now, why you called me Pat. Are you on about my dressing gown?
I think she looks more like Bane.
More like what?
Bane? Yeah, Bane from Batman.
Yeah.
I haven't watched Batman, so I don't know who you're on about. But
I will not tolerate such behaviour.
Get the fuck out of this podcast.
I don't know who you mean.
Yeah. Nobody cared who I was to put on the dressing gown.
But anyway, listeners, it's a very nice dressing gown. It's very warm. They just don't appreciate a good dressing gown. Anyway, moving on.
Yeah, on to the questions.
So I put basically on our Instagrams I just wondered what people's thoughts were and whether they agreed with what Rishi was saying. So people replied, and we had, someone wondered about where does he get his short clothing from. We won't name names of who that was. As he sat there giggling away.
He has like short longs or long shorts. I don't know what his trousers are.
Yeah.
Well,
Apparently it's a
where does
fashion
he buy
thing.
his short
do we
trousers?
agree? Is he
Or
a
long
North Pole
shorts
or
or
South
short
Pole elf?
longs?
Is he a North Pole or South Pole elf?
He must be a South Pole elf.
Please tell me you've watched Elf, Zoe.
I've
I
seen
have.
them. Yeah.
I have.
I just carry on, Zoe, because
Right.
that was quite flat.
So one person, and they wanted me to say their first comment they wrote. They were like, please say the first bit. I was like, fine, I will. They put, as sexy as he is, this plan goes against human rights, though it might work.
I mean, what part of... I mean, I'm assuming they didn't specify what human rights article they're referring to.
No.
But I get the point as it stands, probably. There may be some elements which could be argued because human rights is all based on case law and the articles, blah, blah, blah. But I think that's one of the reasons why they want to bring in the Bill of Rights so we can amend it so that we have more control over our borders. Yes,
So
next
we
question.
also had, I genuinely think his intent here is to win support from voters and not to find a fairer way to tackle illegal immigration, as usual with the right-sided MPs.
Right.
Can you say that again? Sorry.
Yeah. Well, the whole thing.
Yes, please.
I genuinely think his intent here is to win support from voters and not to find a fairer way to tackle illegal immigration, as usual with right-sided MPs.
So to answer that, I would 2 parts. I agree with the first part. The second part, shut up.
I'm the same. I'm with you there. But agree, we have just mentioned there's an element of populism to it, though, isn't
100%.
there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But politics at the moment is populist. Period. That's proven with Starmer, who is a massive Remainer, not wanting to say that he would look at another referendum, which, bearing in mind, a lot of Labour, Starmer supporters want to see him talk about Brexit a bit more, but he refuses to because he knows he'll lose the populist vote if he does that.
Exactly.
So it's not just the right that play populism, it's the left. Quite a lot.
Yeah, populism is a disease either way.
It is. Are you reading the newspaper?
I am. I made a note of some bits. I highlighted it with yellow, but with the light's so dark, I can't actually see the yellow anymore. But it's just saying in the Telegraph today about how Boris has backed a parliamentary bill which would exert Britain's sovereignty over migration policy by rejecting the ECHR.
So I did see this earlier, and it's not going through. They didn't get enough votes. Only 69 MPs voted.
Oh, okay. And was this part of the rebellion, I assume?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was like Pretty, Boris, Nadine.
So basically everyone from Boris's government.
Pretty much, yes.
Were there any more questions, though?
There wasn't, no.
No?
Okay, I've got a quick subject. Ukraine and the fact that media is trying to make it sound like we had active British troops on the ground fighting Russia recently. Have you seen those news stories?
I haven't.
So,
no, I haven't.
The Times included, posted an article about 4-5 Commando, which is an elite Royal Marines unit, specialising in Arctic warfare, have been out in Ukraine on the ground, both at the start of the conflict and more recently. What they failed to obviously highlight till later on in the article is they've only been based at embassies, the UK embassies, which, to be fair, is perfectly fine. We're protecting our own, essentially, land.
Yeah, I agree.
What also is within Ukraine is that they have been training Ukrainian troops within Kyiv. And that is the same with the SBS, obviously the Special Boat Service, and the SES, the Special Air Service. And to be fair, I've said since the outset of this whole conflict that the best sort of intel we can get is by having our own boots on the ground. It's the most reliable intel. And it means if, for instance, Russia did declare war on the West as a whole, where you've already got you loud person, you are aware we can hear the rustling of that newspaper.
We can hear the newspaper.
So I was trying to find a story to bring up in a minute, but it's gone.
You sound like a granddad opening his newspaper, waving it about.
You were literally waving it like that.
And that doesn't help the sound either.
Yeah, sorry.
Here, Jordan, why don't you have some more editing?
You enjoy it so much, though.
You a fuck?
But going back to your story, where are the reports coming from that they were fighting though? Is it purely just
Obviously
people have
just read that these essentially the clickbait headlines, and it started this whole part that obviously British Marines, Royal Marines, have been in direct conflict with Russian troops, which is completely incorrect. One, it'd be too risky to have us in direct conflict, and the only time we'll engage Russian troops is when there's no other option, because it is an act of war if we engage. And NATO, remember, is a defensive alliance, not an aggressive alliance.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, I have no doubts that we'll have troops in that country continually. The US will certainly have troops in that country. And of course, we're going to have people in Ukraine because it just gives us the operational opportunity to understand the enemy a lot better, but also the training of Ukrainian soldiers. You have to think the Ukrainians are mass civilians, butchers, hairdressers, barbers, etc., to fight against what was meant to be, what was it, the second best army in the world? Clearly fucking not, but that's Russia. What they're meant to do. Yeah. They've absolutely embarrassed themselves, Russia, and Putin, he's just an angry midget. But let's just go from there.
He's on his way out, I think.
Someone's
going to snuff him out. We could always send Special Agent Pat.
with me dressing gown on, no one will ever know.
You could conceal an AK under there, no problem.
It's big enough, exactly.
Right, that's all three of us being poisoned by the end of next week. Salisbury, here we go.
I live quite close to Salisbury, so I won't be touching my door handle for a while.
Probably for the best.
Yeah. In a random story I saw, which I found quite amusing to bring up, is Biden's energy secretary. Have you heard about this story?
No.
So Biden's energy secretary stole a suitcase traveling through an airport and stuffed it with over £3,000 or $3,000 worth of jewelry, clothes, and makeup. Twice. Well, it's such a bizarre thing. Like he went to the airport, didn't have a suitcase, so he's stolen a suitcase, and then filled this suitcase full of stolen stuff, and then tried to go off with it.
That's so random.
I know, but being a public figure, you just wouldn't do things. It's like, was it not Winona Ryder? Who did all the shoplifting? Was that Winona Ryder? Actress. You two are just looking at me blankly. I'm digressing. But it's such a bizarre story. Like Tories never get stuff. Well, we just have weird sex scandals, don't we? But we never get caught stealing stuff, do we? But we digress from the point. We're here to talk about Rishi.
Well,
and his plan.
Anything within UK politics at the moment, I think, is worth a discussion. Do you reckon we'll have another Prime Minister within the year? I think that's a good. Let's have our New Year bets. How long do you think Richie's going to last? Is he going to last to the next general election, or do you have another time? I think you'll last to the next general election.
I would agree. I think we'll get to the next general election, get hammered.
Well, yes, because the opinion polls, let's find it. Apparently, what is it? There's going to be a Labour. I think they're going to have 339 Labour MPs, apparently, if the election was called now. That's how bad it's apparently predicted to be. 339 seats to Labour.
That's a horrible
I definitely think Labour will win.
Oh, yes, I just hope not by that majority.
100%.
I think I'd rather them have a majority than a coalition. Imagine like a Lib Dem, Labour, SNP coalition.
But I dare say, coalitions, you get the best governments.
Well, you're a David Cameron fan, aren't you? So.
Fine. Love her, maybe. Love her. In regards to coalitions, I honestly feel coalitions do work a lot better because you're getting the sort of different sides of an argument. Essentially, the Conservatives at the moment is a coalition. How fractioned our party is severe. But I do feel
it's fractured between Conservatives and non-Conservatives, isn't it?
Well, it's fraction between Conservatives and too far right to care less.
Yeah.
Thanks. Even Zoe agreed.
She agreed because she was lost. Don't take.
I don't know if you're insulting her intelligence.
I did agree, Jordan. I agree
Thank
with
you.
what you were saying. Ignore
you.
Scott.
Although both me and Zoe agree Penny Mordaunt should have won.
Oh yeah, absolutely. She should have won.
And I genuinely think she would have been a better unifying force than Rishi.
Okay, I will agree to that. But that's because people see Rishi as the Achilles heel to Boris's premiership.
It's not even that for me. Like, I wanted Boris to go. Boris had made his own bed and ruined it.
You did, yes. But a vast majority of people that weren't Conservative till 2019 did not.
So populists.
Yes.
And that's part of the. I think that's part of the problem with the Conservative Party.
The biggest problem.
We've had populists, and now we've got left of centre Conservatives. Swung so hard to the centre, it's created a ripple. It shocked people.
But the Conservatives, and in my eyes, politics in general has won in the centre ground. No man's land.
But at the moment, it's not, because even Rishi's following up with populism by this immigration policy.
Yeah, Richie's actually quite right to my liking. He's further right than most. I was a Remainer. I still am, to be honest with you. If we had another referendum, I'd vote Remain again.
I would vote Remain as well.
Yeah, I'm sort of like you a bit more. Like I thought you were more Scots type of Conservative, but no.
Well, it surprises me.
And so this is my point of what I was saying. She's Penny Mordaunt.
No, I agree. Penny was a good option.
I mean, like so that's she's drawn in me and her.
Her, Zoe, you mean, you know.
Yeah, but that's my point. Whereas Rishi has pushed away me and a lot of other people.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I think it would have been bad for Penny to take leadership. Not because she'd be bad at it, but because whoever took that job now are going into a general election that they're going to lose. Is it not better for her to survive the upcoming general election? Then with luck, take leadership after and start rebuilding the Conservatives from the foundation.
No, I agree, but in which case, why didn't we just leave Liz in? We caused ourselves more upset.
Well, because we wouldn't have a single Conservative MP if that fucking moron stayed in.
I think Zoe would disagree with you.
Look, I was a huge Liz fan, but
we all have our
I
issues.
do appreciate what you're saying. I think everyone probably would have deserted her at some point.
I just don't think she had enough of a chance. I think at least 100 days. We should have given the poor woman 100 days. But we didn't.
We wouldn't have an economy.
Yeah, well, I mean, I thought the plan was sound. The delivery was poor and the comms were poor. And I thought it was actually a Conservative, not manifesto, but pledge. And I thought
that's a Conservative pledge. That's bad. What she done was diabolical. Maybe if we had a strong economy, i.e. before COVID, that may have worked. But she's done more U-turns than fucking anything in the world. She was Remain, Brexit, Lib Dem, Conservative, Boris, not Boris. She just goes where populist.
That's what I was going to say.
She's a pop.
She was going with what she knew would get her liked.
Exactly.
Which is what everyone's doing. That's the problem. That and it continues to be the problem. I remember being sat down at a Christmas lunch with an MP and some other officers, and he was asking what our opinions were about Boris and what should happen. And I said then, it was 2019. I said must have been 2020 actually. I said I'd rather Boris be gone. We have a smaller majority of actual Conservatives. Is what I wanted.
Well, we went from David Cameron, who obviously wasn't a populist, to obviously May, that again definitely wasn't populist. Then to Boris Johnson, that was
leader.
Agreed. She is a great MP and she's a lovely person, from what I've heard.
Yeah.
Then we went to Boris Johnson, which I won't comment on his personal because I don't know much. I reckon he'd be a fantastic laugh out on the piss. I think it'd be hilarious. I reckon you'll be in the jungle within the next 3 years. I honestly do. I think you'll take after his dad and go to the jungle. But Boris was obviously massively a populist. He was a celebrity before he was even an MP.
Yeah.
And then you go to Liz Truss that couldn't manage to piss up in a brewery. And then you've got Rishi Sunak that is trying to be a populist. So I think the issue
nothing
now...
but Labour then, really, aren't we?
But people are only... So I went canvassing not that long ago, and people are only going to vote Labour for one reason. It's not because Keir Starmer's good. It's not because Labour have the correct policies. It's because they're not conservative. And people only know, realistically, the UK political system only allows for two major parties. It is very hard for a mini party to really build any sort of strength to become a government. So you've got Labour, you've got the Conservatives. A lot of people vote Conservative and they do feel let down. But we can't stress enough that over the last couple of years, under Boris Johnson's premiership, he has been hit the hardest in regards to challenges. I think that's fair to give him.
Yeah,
I think definitely, especially from the media. Like, he was hammered. Everything that happened, he was absolutely rinsed for.
But the fact that Labour haven't actually gained, realistically, any massive support is pretty embarrassing on their behalf. And it should be a badge of shame for Keir Starmer because he is a Prime Minister in waiting now. I think we can all agree with that. And it's going to be a shambolic premiership.
I do think Reform are going to pick up a lot.
I do, but I'd be quite happy to wave goodbye to quite a lot of so-called Conservative members to Reform because it's those members that do sort of cause a lot of friction in our party.
But anyway, yes, I think Reform are going to pick... they may not even pick up seats, but they're definitely going to split the vote in regards to MPs' majorities. That's if all the... Especially Red Wall seats, especially if all the Red Wall MPs don't just not stand again, like a majority of them are.
Well, hasn't the deadline passed now, where you have to see if you're not standing? I think the deadline's passed now. Yeah.
Still, it's a shame to lose so many MPs.
Dienga's probably the biggest. Dienga's probably the biggest loss in regards to obviously Shabbat. He's going to be a massive loss. Absolutely massive experience. Quite a likable person as well. Dienga was an upcoming star, young. Definitely brought in a lot of sort of interest from younger females, I think. People like Dienga, she does obviously allow a lot of people to see that you can be young, female, and get into politics. And I think she was a great role model for that. And it is a shame to see her go. Yes, I think she's going to a very nice job within the media.
Oh, yeah. TV News for sure.
Yeah. And do you know what? I wish her all the best because hopefully she might come back to politics in a couple of years' time. But
or she might stand with Reform.
I do hope not. I don't want to see...
yeah, hopefully not.
My respect will go massively. She'll probably do another Liz Truss. There we go. She supported Liz Truss massively.
She was. When I met Deanna in Westminster, I asked her, and she was so vocally for Liz Truss.
Yeah. Well, 100%. Obviously, up here there was very little... I don't know, you'll be in the groups, but as far as I'm aware, it was Liz versus Rishi for up here with our parties. Rishi done his sort of gather around meets everywhere, and Liz did, and I think from up here Rishi had the bigger support from memberships. I know he did from the MPs from up here. I think all MPs minus the NS in Durham that were Conservative wanted Rishi.
I would probably say a majority of the MPs down here in Dorset were probably Rishi. But the membership for Liz, which was really interesting actually, because even now I see our membership arguing with our MP about it because I think the membership are more upset they didn't get a vote than anything. Because in the last leadership race, when Penny dropped out first time, I was like, I'm going to spoil my ballot. And then I come out of my sulking period and I thought I need to vote for someone. So I went to the things and I met Liz and heard her speak. And she's not the greatest speaker. But when I spoke to her, I quite liked her, and she was engaging on like a one-to-one level. So that's why I decided to vote for her in the end. Which is actually where I got her to sign the plane, Zoe.
Which we are going to give away on the podcast, believe it or not.
It's devalued so much since then.
But no, I found that with Rishi though. When I met Rishi, he was so sort of down to earth, and he was very, very likable. Really, really likable. So I found that with him. And I don't know whether, because obviously you're saying a lot, obviously your MP, etc., went for Rishi during that. I thought it was geographical thing, because obviously Rishi's very close to Durham, it's North Yorkshire, and Richmond, North Yorkshire, and he's obviously very close to us. So I thought it was more of a geographical sort of support.
No, I think it just depends, because I asked an MP, how does it work? Do you vote based on like policy? You know, when you're picking for the leaders to go to the membership to vote on, like how does it work? And someone said to me, it's more to do with who's opposite your office. It could be people that you wouldn't even expect an MP to vote for, purely because they know them and they like them because they sit in the office next door.
Mine was Rishi for weeks on end, and then probably 3 weeks before it was all over, he changed to Liz.
Sounds like he's got the same personality, though.
Clearly, they love a good U-turn.
Yeah, let me be honest. Yeah. All sort of jokes aside, I think she's a lovely person. I do think her heart's in the right place. And like,
absolutely.
I actually tweeted when she obviously sort of stepped down was focus on your mental health, because that mentality, sort of living, like working that job for a starter, but then to see the economy, which wasn't down to her partly, but it was globally as well. To then get the stick she got and the hatred she got, I actually felt really, really sorry for it, especially when I watched that speech live of her standing down. And to be honest with you, I don't think people realise the sort of stress, the hatred, etc. MPs go down. Obviously, I sent you the messages that Johnny Mercer received recently, which was quite shocking.
Awful.
Obviously, they know the job when they go into it, but
they probably don't even look at it. Like,
you know, I mean,
it can have an impact, can't it? It's always sketchy. I mean,
we're human. You can see your thick skin, but if so much hate's coming your way, it's going to eventually break you down. I don't care who you are. It's because it doesn't just impact you; it impacts your family. And obviously, Liz has a young daughter, doesn't she? I think, does she have the one child? She might have more than one.
She's got two. She's got two daughters.
And obviously, it'll be hard for them to see the stick that their mother's getting as well. And I do honestly hope, I think she'll go on and do good things outside of politics. But it is like, all joking aside, I think it was just the wrong time. And I honestly don't think she was really, I think the membership were given two options that they didn't actually want. I think she was just the best out of a bad duo.
And how much was that manufactured? I think about that so much, like, because the MP, I do wonder. I mean, I maybe put my tinfoil hat on, but I do think especially for the second time, the threshold should have been lower. Maybe 80. 100 seems. I know we've just been through like what felt like a lifetime of leadership races over the summer, but just dropping it down to 80 from 100 would have given people a choice.
Yeah, I think given the membership, 3 options might be a better option then. And then it isn't like a 50-50. I think giving them 3 options for leader, I think that would be a better sort of more fairer way to do it. 4? Yes.
Get it to 4 and then elimination.
Yeah, I honestly do.
That's probably my biggest gripe about everything is that because what else do we pay our membership for? And now they're racking it up to what, 39 quid a year?
Labour do, apparently. That's a good excuse reason why.
Well, apparently Labour, I think I saw Labour saying like £56 a year.
I can't believe it's £56 a year.
I mean, don't quote me, but I'm pretty sure that's what I saw.
If I was a member, I'd go on strike. Well, that's what they do on the left, isn't it?
Yeah, no, I agree. And I don't like to bash my own party, but I understand a lot of people's frustrations of how things are, especially raising the membership during a cost of living crisis. I know they say, current members don't get affected till 2024, but we want to draw more members in. We want people to join us, not...
What I feel it'll actually have a negative impact on is the red wall seats, because they're
gone in my head. I'm not even thinking.
They are gone. That's my like that's where I live. Like, we are surrounded by red, and then we've got like the little pockets of blue in Bishop Auckland, Sedgefield. Teesside, I think, may just retain Conservative because the levelling up investment in Teesside has been massive, and there's been a lot of sort of very good things. And the mayor, Ben, he's done fantastic. Ben Horton, he has gained so much populism, but for a good reason. He's invested so much and people are liking him. Hartlepool, again, that was a by-election that we won during Boris Johnson's premiership, and it has been very successful, and I do feel that Teesside may just retain at least a couple of seats there. But here in Durham, it's going to go back. Sedgefield will go back to Labour, which is where I currently live in the Sedgefield constituency, which was famously Tony Blair's constituency. That'll go back to Labour. Bishop Auckland, undoubtedly, will probably go back to Labour. So Durham, North West Durham, that Richard Holding seat, that could possibly go back to Labour, although he gets a lot of respect for his hard work that he does. I do feel that the North East, and probably like your further south, because the North East or the North doesn't start at Manchester, it starts higher up. We were having this debate beforehand. And I do feel like we will lose a lot of seats, but I think we'll have some pockets of red wall traditional seats where it will be quite tight. Oh, you need another whiskey. What drink are we having? What tipple are we having?
What now?
Well, clearly not this second. It's empty. But what are you drinking?
I was drinking that free bottle of M&S plum sparkly gin stuff.
We're leaving that for Christmas. Is it nice?
It is Christmas, isn't it?
Fair point.
It was quite nice. I only had it with tonic water.
No, it's not Christmas, because according to the RMT person, Christmas doesn't start till Christmas Eve, apparently.
Oh, yeah,
he says no one celebrates Christmas till Christmas Eve. That's how fucking stupid them lot are as well.
Digressing, I got a question for Zoe. What the hell is that tweet about with the weird buttons that I mocked you on?
The tweet with the weird buttons.
Yeah, I said.
I was wondering who it was. I was like, So it's types of Pokemon. I don't know. Everybody else was doing it, and I was like, hey, I want to join in. So there are the different types of Pokemon. So it was like, which vibe do I give off? So then
I didn't say
what type of
Pokemon. But you didn't specify that is what kind of Pokemon are you?
Well, I just assumed people would have known.
No, but I'm over 30. How the hell am I going to... I did enjoy my response, so I chuckled to myself a little bit too much.
Well, I did laugh a lot, to be fair.
Have you seen the post we're on about, Jordan?
No.
Well, where are you? It looks very Christmassy.
That's in our grotto at work.
You have a grotto at work. She's in a grotto and she's got Liz Truss's shirt on.
Not an actual, like, for listeners, right? It's not an actual t-shirt with Liz Truss's face on it.
Right.
If you Google Liz Truss, what's the blouse called? Pussy bow blouse, and then you'll know.
And then delete your history.
What it is. And then look on my Twitter.
Disclaimer.
And then you'll know.
Disclaimer: do not Google that.
I couldn't say it because I was laughing to myself.
So
don't worry, nothing weird comes up. That's the name of.
But out of curiosity, what Pokemon do you think you would have been?
I would have said. I probably would have said fairy.
Fairy Pokemon.
Yeah, like Jigglypuff.
Pokemon. I don't know Pokemon.
Jigglypuff. I won't lie. When I grew up, I was.
Well, I'm wearing the same colour as Jigglypuff.
Yeah, I agree.
When I grew up, I had a life.
What happened?
Exactly. I went into politics.
I do love these trends. I keep seeing this AI trend as well, which I have no idea. Like, there's pictures of like people, and then they just look horrendous after the AI's done its work. But I kind of kept it in the tone of politics, commenting on your tweet and this podcast, because obviously I did reference Liz Truss.
You did, exactly. And I thought, what a lovely blouse I'm wearing. Now, every time I wear that blouse, that's all I'm going to think of when I've got it on.
I did see the post, actually, now. Yes, I was confused by it. So, quickly then, going about Zoe's tweets. Top 3 biscuits, Scott.
Top 3 biscuits.
Yeah.
Oh, my number one favourite, hands down, and I would give over my child for some of these, is the M&S white chocolate rounds. Have you ever had those?
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah, see? That is the shiz. Secondly, would have to be those. Do you remember the like caramel lined digestives? Chocolate digestives?
Yes. You can still get them. Never mind, remember them. You can still get them.
I used to put them in the freezer for a bit, so they went really solid. And third, I guess I would have to go for probably just a chocolate hobnob.
Hobnob's on my top 3. Speaking of M&S biscuits, Jaffa cakes, M&S's Jaffa cakes are the best.
They are nice, and the lime ones.
They are nice.
But are Jaffa cakes biscuits? Okay.
Now they do fall under, don't they fall under biscuit, even though the name has cake?
They're always in the biscuit aisle.
Yeah.
So another question, which I think it stops in Yorkshire, but as well, have you ever heard of ringtones, Scott?
No, only when I go to see my doctor.
Oh my God, not ring sting, Scott.
Are you frozen again, Jordan?
It's because I steal the neighbour's internet.
Oh, Jeremy Corbyn! If you voted Jeremy Corbyn, we would have got it for free.
No, I think it's because sadly, I haven't learned the art of pulling out because I've got too many children that will all be using the internet right now. So that'll be why.
At least you're honest.
I read that old Chinese book, The Art of Pulling Out. Yeah, I remember that one. Oh, dear. Anyway, ringtones. Have I heard of ringtones? No, I haven't.
So ringtones, it's a fantastic. They do amazing tea and amazing biscuits, and they deliver them. So they go around the houses, and they like you sort of have a bit of subscription. They come around with a van. They have a little hamper. They come out and you select what you want out the hamper, type thing. And they
so
do
it's
some
like an Avon lady, but for biscuits.
Yes, it's like an Avon lady, but for posh bastards, basically.
Whitards on wheels.
So they do like these little biscuits which have like a crest on. I just call them crest biscuits, and it's like a lovely crumbly biscuit with a milk chocolate and then a lovely white chocolate for the crest, and dipped in a cup of tea. They're amazing. They're out of this world. They're probably my actual number one. Hobnobs are fantastic as well. My issue with hobnobs is I'll crack open a packet and I'll eat the whole packet.
Easily done with biscuits, though.
Hobnobs mainly for me with a cup of tea. A good cup of tea.
Then?
Sorry?
What's your third biscuit?
Well, Zoe was disappointed when I said this. The humble, rich tea, but the finger ones.
Yeah, I get that. They're very absorbent.
I was only disappointed because it is a bit of a boring biscuit. And
I would suppose a rich tea is the Rishi Sunak of biscuits.
I agree, Scott.
Yeah, it's a rich tea. Yeah. That's almost as good as my Twitler joke, isn't it?
Oh, that was shit. Not the Twitler joke, that one. That was terrible. That was absolutely horrendous, Scott.
What are yours, Zoe? What are your top three? Oh, she's frozen now.
My first choice would be
She's
a Fox's cream crunch.
You froze. Say that again.
Fox's cream crunch. Am I still frozen?
No, you're okay.
No.
Okay. A Fox's cream crunch.
I don't think I even know what that is.
How?
It's probably because Waitrose doesn't sell it, you posh.
I am now Googling.
Do you know what Fox's biscuits are?
Yes, I do.
Phew.
Was it a Fox's what?
Cream crunch.
Oh, the ginger things.
I don't think it's got the right ones.
Yeah. No, they're like a round custard cream, aren't they, essentially?
Yeah, but they're a bit better than a custard cream.
Miles better.
Yeah, they got like...
Okay.
You will be...
This would be a bourbon.
Oh, say that again, sorry. Say that again.
My second choice would be a bourbon.
This is why they invented the human rights. Bourbon.
A bourbon?
Bourbon.
That's what I'm saying.
No, you're going bourbon.
Well, everyone knows what I mean.
Yes. Yeah,
They're nice
okay, essentially...
A glass of milk, they're lovely. But not top three.
No, I wouldn't have it with a glass of milk.
Oh, a glass of milk.
Okay, so what's your third one?
Well, I can't remember now. No, I do remember. You know a malted milk?
Yes.
But the ones that's got chocolate on them. A chocolate malted milk.
Yeah, they're not bad. But you've basically picked everything that's like under £1.
That's cost of living prices, Scott.
No, but they just have no taste. Like, I like the malted milks and stuff, but they're just... they have to be like soaked with tea to make them edible.
No, right. All this started because you know those biscuits?
Nice.
What are they called? The nice biscuit.
Nice.
Are they called nice?
Oh,
nice, whatever. It all started
Covered in
because
sugar.
of this.
Yeah.
I shared on Twitter saying they weren't very nice. So this is what started the biscuit debate.
Oh, nice. Do you know what I'm shocked? No one actually ever mentions when I ask the top three biscuits, though. Wagon wheels.
I do like a wagon wheel, but they're not as good as they used to be.
No,
I bought them recently.
I'm going to swear for where Scott's from. This is something that's not allowed to be said where Scott's from. Aldi biscuits is really nice.
I have been known to frequent Lidl. I may be wearing a hood and a hat, but they have a good wine selection.
Fair enough.
Yeah, your ID. Yes, but that is not me, honestly. Please sign this non-disclosure agreement that I have been in your shop. I like Aldi. In fact, I'm going to Aldi on Saturday because I prefer their snacky stuff. But then I do like the Lidl's, like they do their the bakery's good.
Oh yeah, their croissants are the best croissants, hands down.
Their yum yums
in the world.
Their toffee yum yums are really nice, and apparently they're very, very similar to the Polish donuts you can get. Never been to Poland. It's on my to-do list. But
what do you think like Rishi's selection from Lidl's would be?
Probably the shops.
She's just gonna buy Lidl's.
Yeah.
You're gonna buy the whole company.
The whole store.
And then close them all down.
Wait then, let's do a little thing to sort of end this podcast. Where do we think certain MPs shop? Keir Starmer.
Sainsbury's.
What did you say? That's so weird. Did you say Sainsbury's? What did you say?
No, I said Sainsbury's.
I don't want to comment because it's going to look like bullying. So,
I would agree.
Said
Actually,
Sainsbury's.
Because Sainsbury's is quite an on-the-fence place to shop, isn't it?
No, it's quite high-end, I think.
Is it?
Yeah,
I don't dislike it, but
so the sort of grocery shop supermarket hierarchy will probably be Waitrose, M&S. Like, I would put Sainsbury's after M&S, and then probably Morrison's, Tesco.
But then that's what I mean. It's in the middle, isn't it?
No.
So then you go Tesco's, Aldi, Lidl.
You've missed Morrison's.
What
no
about
one likes
Co-op?
Morrison's. No one likes Co-op either.
I wouldn't see the Co-op's more of a local convenience store than a supermarket.
Yeah, it's like one. Do you remember One Stop? I've always thought they're like that.
I'm sure they're still about, aren't they? Yeah.
Are they?
Yeah, I think they're still about. They might not be able to afford the rents where you live, but they're still about.
Okay, so who's the next MP then? Before you insult my area anymore. Nadine Dorries.
Waitrose.
Yeah, definitely. She's up her arse. Yeah.
That's love honey, isn't it?
Oh, that's not a vision I want.
Matt Hancock.
I reckon he's a Marks and Spencer's type.
Yeah.
I don't think you can get crocodile feet in Marks and Spencer's, can you? I'm a celeb joke, Zoe. You looked really vague then.
Yeah, she was one that was very proactive.
I was thinking about crocodile feet. I was like, ew.
It could be Iceland. They normally do sort of.
Oh yeah, they do random things, don't they?
Yeah. And on that note, I think we'll end this week's podcast. Thank you for listening to myself, Jordan, Scott and Zoe, as we discuss an array of subjects this week. Make sure you follow us on social media accounts, which are linked in wherever you're listening to this podcast. It's YouTube in the bio below. And if it's such as Spotify, etc., you'll be able to find those links. But on Twitter, we're political. No, we're not. We're politics, Chinwag. And on other social medias, we're political, Chinwag. Thank you. Goodbye.